Hello, Freedom Nation. It's Jeff here once again with the Freedom Nation podcast. And on this episode, I've got William Holsten. He is a very interesting cat because he spent a lot of his years in the corporate world while running a little side gig that he was hoping would be his Freedom Day. And we'll hear what his story is, which has led to a new book that he's just published and is really that this is the mission of his life, truly. So stay tuned. We'll be right back on in just 1 second.
All in you. Everything you're looking for, it's all in you. You gotta believe that it's all in you. Everything you're searching for, it's all in.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. William, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing great, Jeff. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well. I'm looking forward to our conversation today. Why don't we start off? Tell me a little bit about your story. How'd you get to where you are today?
I got a degree in marketing from college and went into the corporate world first as a marketing kind of intern, and then I became a brand manager in the consumer health space. I was a brand manager on some big national brands. After many years in there, I converted to an innovation specialist in the R&D group of this consumer health company, where my job was to lead workshops, tell people solve problems, come up with new product ideas, and develop some and test some strategies. Nice. I was with that company overall 37 years. Wow. And in the final 12 years of that, I launched a side gig. And that was my wife, my family, and I invented carnival games. The kind you sell to rental companies and amusement companies that they use in their events or rent out to customers.
Yeah.
I was approached by somebody in my family to rent a game they could use for a Make-A-Wish carnival in August of like 1999, a long time ago. And we rented a dunk tank. You know, the games where they throw a target, hit a ball, and somebody falls into this big vat of water. 2 weeks before that carnival, I got called by the rental company who told me, sorry, in Pennsylvania, there's a drought going on. We're not allowed to rent this because it requires 500 gallons to fill, and that's against current law. So he said, do you want something else? I said, no, I'll figure something out. My wife and I sat at our kitchen table with a napkin and scribble, and we said, how do we get that experience without all that water? And we made up, and then the next day we went to Home Depot and created it, a game we later called Pitch Burst. It's the same action. You throw a ball, hit a target, but when you hit the target, a water balloon pops over their head. Yeah. It was a 4x8 plywood sheet with a diagonal arm, and there was a water balloon in a basketball rim with a net. And we made a little toggle thing that when you hit it, it popped it. We did it at that carnival. We made hundreds of dollars for the charity. We went home sweaty, tired, but really happy that it was an amazing success. The next day, the phone began to ring. Hey, can I get that game? Where can I buy it? Where can I rent it? And my day job muscles started going, hey, we could probably make some money here.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. So I did some research. We talked to rental companies. How do they buy dunk tanks and understand some of the environment? Then went to a lawyer and had a patent drawn up. So we found out it was available and then got it patented. Once all that was confirmed, I was able to get an SBA loan. It was almost $100,000 to fund production of the first 100 games and some of our early marketing. We had created this out of wood with screws and stuff ourselves. We got a fabricator to make it better, but out of wood as well.
Yeah.
We went ahead and launched. We went to a trade show. We put out some rental industry magazine advertisements. And in the first 6 months, sold about 60 of these units.
Wow.
They're $900 each. So it was a lot of money. And we were thrilled by this. We sold them in the winter and early spring. And then came our first moment is what I call it. They went out for rent the first, second, third, and fourth times. By the fifth time, most of the 60 customers were calling us to say, the game broke. The parts fell off. The screws didn't stay in. The logo panel is peeling off. You sold me a piece of crap. And if I felt terrible. This was not my freedom. It was the opposite. I was locked into it. And if I sold you something, I'm good for it. So out of my pocket, out of more loans, out of my credit cards, we gave spare parts. We gave hand holding, and where necessary, we did a lot of refunds.
Yeah.
We thought we were dead. But I then surveyed all of those customers and said, we fessed up. We realized that this didn't work out for you or us or your customers. But the game itself was a big promise of a visual, exciting game your customers would love. If we made this more durable, would you buy it again? And the majority said yes.
Okay.
So we found, through a friend of a friend, we networked, we found an engineer who redesigned, re-engineered it out of steel. And within 2 years, with a lot more loan from the bank, we were able to fund another 100 units, this time out of steel. That was in 2002. This game, Pitch Burst, is still on sale today. We've sold the rights, but that was a solution. It wasn't because we then incurred so much debt to make goods and reinvent the thing. We started out pretty much in the hole. We later, this is still while I work at the day job all the time. We later invented a second, then a third game. We don't have time to go into those, but there were other unanticipated mistakes that in retrospect, I might have done better testing.
Yeah.
I learned through the experience, kind of a brilliant idea guy, but a terrible engineer. And you'll ask me later, what's my biggest regret in business? It was not partnering with an engineer from the get-go, so we could avoid these mistakes in the first place.
That's awesome.
So I continued with the business. We ran it for 12, 13 years while still working full-time. In the 9th or 10th year of that, I wound up with heart problems and had quadruple bypass surgery.
Yeesh.
And while recovering from that was my come to Jesus moment. All right, I've got a full-time job, a very stressful entrepreneurial gig. I can't keep both. What am I going to do? So we decided back in 2009, we're going to find a buyer for this and sell the rights. It took us a few years. We found a great partner who first became our sales agent. And then when they were comfortable with the operations, they took it over and acquired the patents and trademarks on our 3 main game properties.
Nice.
It was then 8 years later, while I continued in the day job, healthy very much down. I'm very thankful for that. That until 2022, then I got to retire from my day job. And one of the first things I did was sign up to be a small business mentor for SCORE, so that I could give back and give others the benefit of some of my experiences without the trauma, help them avoid it. During that time, I discovered, wait a minute, in my day job, I had all these workshop methods and tools to solve problems, come up with ideas. What if I applied those to entrepreneurs and small businesses who are having these moments, problems that they could have anticipated if they had the right tools?
Yeah.
That became the book. The book is called Avoid Unintentional Blunders That Derail Entrepreneurial Success, so you can goof-proof your business. That's the book. The first third is my story with those games, all of the details of what we went through, how much we sweated and suffered, and how we survived and came through it. Second part of it is other famous moments from the world out there, like when Steve Harvey was the host of the Miss Universe contest. I think it was 2017. They got to the end of the contest. The 2 main contestants were there, and he announced the wrong one. The next year, the Oscars announced the wrong Best Picture. It's terribly embarrassing. Not all mistakes are just embarrassing, though. They can be expensive. They can be tragic. So the second part of the book is about a dozen or so of those. The third is the meat for your audience and entrepreneurs and small businesses. It's the 10 tools I recommend you can do yourself or with your partners or with a small group of people within your company to avoid making dumb mistakes. They're organized in 4 ways. One is to learn about yourself and your own tendencies for mistake making. to understand myself. I learned from the exercise that's in the book. When it's 4 a.m. and I've been working on something too long and I'm stressed, I should just pause, go take a walk, or do something else, or ask a partner, because I'm going to make big mistakes that way. A tool helps you diagnose yourself.
Yep.
A second set of tools helps you look at your customers and their experience, so you can get correct assumptions about how they use products or services in your category. Because many times I've found in my mentoring, people don't do the work to understand the customers before they think they can sell. So the book lays out a few steps you can do to map your customer's experience, to diagnose it in advance.
Okay.
A third is about your company and its planning, and it's an exercise that's well known. It's pre-mortem. Post-mortem is when somebody dies, they diagnose what was the cause. Pre-mortem is an imaginary exercise where you envision your company or your venture 2 years from now and imagine that it's totally failed, and you have to think of what were the reasons why it failed. When there's no pressure on you being creative, it's easy to say, well, we didn't understand our customers. Well, we were outplayed by a competitor, or any of those things. The magic is, at that time, before anything bad happens, you get to say, well, which of those, maybe you come up with a few dozen possible reasons, which are the most likely and which are the most impactful, and you can actually develop plans right now to make that not happen.
It's very much the approach that the military takes when planning an operation or
scenario planning. Yeah, that's right.
Let's break through this. Let's look at all the possible things that could go wrong, how we're going to handle it if it does go wrong.
And they're ready. That's right. And the fourth set of tools, of course, is looking at the Steve Harveys and the Oscars. How do you learn from mistakes others have made? And it's something I've termed uh-oh-ology, which has two parts to it. One is you see something, they're in the news every day. A jet fighter fell off an aircraft carrier a few weeks ago. A lot of things are happening like that. You look, so you observe and understand what did happen in that context. But then you think in your own business, you think and understand, how is this relevant to you? The example, the most startling example in the book is of a skydiver in Pennsylvania many years ago who was asked to film another couple, a tandem group, jumping after him, an instructor and a student. This was before GoPros and before smartphones, so he had a strapped-on film camera. So they're up in the plane, gets to 10,000 feet, thumbs up. He jumps out, turns the camera on, points it up, and the two people jump out, pull their ripcords, parachutes open, beautiful shot. Then this guy, his name was Ivan McGuire, he reaches for his ripcord, and it wasn't there because he had spent so much time on the camera. He didn't even think about his parachute. He had jumped hundreds of times, so he died. And it's very tragic. The lesson for small businesses, or any business, is think in your context. What one thing that's critical, if you ever forgot it even once, would be damaging to your business. I think of an urban mom and pop store retailer. They leave at night and leave the door unlocked, and things are stolen. In a restaurant, the pilot light, something goes wrong and the thing burns down. Somebody who's in charge of the company's insurance forgets to renew a policy, and they have a loss, and they're drastic. It's endless, the types of things that can go wrong. The answer to all of these things, and there's no simple answer, but I boil it down in the book to say, think smartly and be more aware. Well, yeah, easier said than done. That's why we've created these 10 tools that you can do around a kitchen table or in a small office. By yourself or with another partner.
Okay. Well, I mean, it sounds like a fantastic book. It sounds like, it's all the things that you've done leading up to that point, and also looking at others. Tell me a little bit about, when you are working with newer businesses through SCORE and things like that, what do you see as some of the big challenges? What are they not taking advantage of quite often?
If they're working with us at an organization like SCORE or the SBA or others that have free resources like this, that's a good sign.
Yeah.
But among the challenges we work with many of them, most of them, is to think through all the elements of a business plan. Maybe not a 50-page business plan, but think through, what is your product or service? Who are you selling it to? Why is your product or service different and valuable to those people? Then critically, what's your business model? How do you make money here? What are you paying for what you deliver? And how do you get money back? And how does that make sense? Because a lot of times they haven't thought this through.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of times people just get started and, I've always wanted to be in business, but they don't actually learn the business part of it. One thing I typically find is too, they have no clue on the financial side of what to do, and I mean, quite frankly, when I started my businesses, I've been in finance for, 25 years, or well, actually about 20 years at that point. But, I mean, there's financial planning type business investments, and then there's actual finance. And I mean, I didn't know what I was doing half the time.
I would agree. I lived in a corporate world, and as a brand manager, we had a finance department
Sure.
who would put together a P&L and a balance sheet and things.
Yeah.
And I understood them, but I didn't have to create them.
Well, yeah, and I the funny part is, and I really, trust me, I'm applauding you for joining SCORE, because a lot of times, a lot of these help organizations, it'll be somebody that was, let's say with IBM or something like that, and I'm going to go help small business owners. Well, dude, you've never had to actually write a check or make a decision. Am I going to pay my mortgage, or am I going to pay an employee at that point? Or I've got to take a loan to be able to fix all the problems of the mess that I made at that point. So, I think you can provide more in a lot of cases to those folks.
I'd agree. And we talked when we started, Jeff, about my freedom moment, my freedom desires. When I retired and got to begin giving back as a mentor and to write this book, which I believe is an important gift to people who are running businesses. I won't give it away, by the way, but a gift. That's my freedom. I get with my wife now, we get to travel as often as we want. But then I come back and I'm grounded in helping people.
Yeah. Now, what's kind of the plans, the future plans? Because the book's really new. So what are some the future plans to kind of bring this to the masses?
My intent, and it's not ready yet, I'm going to put it on my website in the next few months, is to develop online courses. Person I could work with, do workshops morning or an afternoon with a small group of people going through each of these 10 tools will probably help them from then on think smarter, be more aware, to avoid mistakes. One thing I did mention, no matter, even if you use every tool in my book, things still happen and mistakes still happen. It's part of human nature. And when you get to actually doing something that's substantial, that's a blunder, you face 5 options. You can accept and move on. You can fix it. You can pivot. You can quit, or you can ignore. Ignore. All of those, accept, ignore, are good choices, including quit. Because sometimes when you do the value to you in the future of continuing on a path or changing or stopping, quitting is a smart thing. In my own world, when I reached the end with my wooden pitch burst game and it wasn't working, we faced that quit choice. But under financial pressure of repaying my SBA loan, we could not. But sometimes it's a very smart choice.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like I said, I mean, I never underestimate Murphy's Law and its ability to completely destroy everything that you put into place. So absolutely. Well, let's transition then to the fast 5 questions. You already mentioned one of them, your answer, but let's start with the first one, which is you wake up in the morning, business is gone. You have $500 in your pocket, a laptop computer, a place to live, food and clothing. What do you do first?
I thought about this long and hard because I knew you'd be asking this. I would take my wife on a short trip and go enjoy ourselves with the $500. There's many other things I could do, but I think that's the one I would probably enjoy the most. And at this point in this freedom stage, it's what I would enjoy the most.
I like it. Love it. All right. What is your biggest business mistake? I think you mentioned some, or you kind of alluded to it at least.
There's 2 sides to it. Once at that very beginning, after that carnival, when we had an idea that we validated and we went ahead and patented it, 2 mistakes. One, and it's 2 different directions I might have taken. One is I didn't partner with somebody who was a good engineer early. But before that, before deciding, let me go into this business and do it myself, I might have said, I've got a patent. Let me look into how might I license this
Yeah.
to somebody else who could leverage it much better than I can, because I didn't know the industry. I learned it the hard way. So at the inception, there was a fork in the road, and I took the one in the middle, and I could have gone left or right.
There's a lot of people who just do that, who just, they're great at coming up with an idea. They're great at getting the basics worked out, and then they just license their products and let somebody else deal with all the other issues.
In my corporate world, when we were looking for new product ideas, I always pushed very hard so people come up with the other right idea.
Yeah.
You don't jump at the very first one. Think of what all the good possibilities are, and then choose smartly.
Excellent. What's a good book that you'd recommend for our audience?
I enjoyed, and I read it this year, Think Like a Rocket Scientist by an author named Ozan Varol.
Okay.
He was a rocket scientist in the NASA organization, and he applies to entrepreneurism the principles of thinking like a rocket science. I found in that book, I wrote it down so I could write it. He talked about continuing to look for the other right answer as well. Okay. He quoted a German term called Einfühlung, which is jumping at the first right answer you think of instead of going more deeply. So we're of common mind on things like that.
Yeah, I love it.
Think like a rocket scientist.
Think like a rocket scientist. All right, well, we'll put that in the show notes. What's a tool that you use in your business every day that you might recommend?
AI in general, and Poe.com specifically.
Okay.
It was only a few months ago that somebody else told me, it's not just like a Google lookup, you're getting answers. You can have conversations and go deep with these people. And in marketing the book and going deep into the audiences and understanding entrepreneurs better than I understood myself, I've had many late night conversations down the rabbit hole of getting answers and then posing more questions.
Love it.
It's astonishing what AI can do. But amazing. For me personally, in creative thinking, it's indispensable.
I think that's what people are missing when it comes to AI in general. They think that it's just going to have all the answers. And if you think that, you're going to get garbage out of it. But if you have if you use it as a thinking tool, which I do, I literally spend probably 80% of almost every day in there in one way, shape, or form. Whether it's writing, whether it is, just kind of a thought exercise. I went through a thought exercise a few weeks ago of could I create a business in the bookkeeping realm that is 100% AI employees with me as the only human. And I was surprised. I expected it to go, you could kind of do it, but here's this. It spit out like 30 pages of, this is how you could do it. And here's the tools that you would use, blah, 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 blah. Here's the marketing for it and everything else. So it's fun to use those tools like that. So yeah, it's an interesting new one. I hadn't heard of Poe.com.
Yeah. And the watch out is buyer beware. Always scrutinize what comes out, because it's based on what's available, and sometimes that's wrong.
Absolutely. And it just kind of goes off on its own tangent sometimes.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I've told the story multiple times, with the image stuff, it's gotten a lot better. ChatGPT especially has gotten a lot better, but I wrote an article on LinkedIn probably last year sometime, and the title of it was ChatGPT Flipped Me Off. And I was fighting with an image, and it kept changing the image. And every time I okay, it's really close. I just need you to change this one thing. It'd completely do it different. And after me fighting with it and excoriating it, finally it created an image, exactly what I wanted, with a hand that was flipping me off in the middle of it. So it was just, it is a little passive aggressive sometimes, I've discovered.
That sounds like good for you.
So final question, what is your definition of freedom?
The ability to be myself.
Okay.
And to serve others. It's both. Because when I was in my corporate working 24/7 on my side gig, there was no time to give back. This time in my life, now that I've passed my corporate world, I can choose what I want to work on. The book was the first one. The score was the second. And I'm looking forward to more opportunities like that.
I love it. Love it. Well, William, thank you very much for joining us today. If someone's interested in learning about the book, more about you, where's the best place to go?
It's my author website. It's got my name on it. It's William Holsten. I'll spell it. William, HOLSTEN.com. The book is there. By the way, we mentioned the tool that helps you self-diagnose your own blunder tendencies. Mm-hmm. There's a freebie for your audience if they want it. It's in the book. It's called Look in the Mirror, but the download on that website, on the homepage, it's called Why the F Did I Do That? To help you figure out what's behind your mistake making.
I love it.
It's our gift to you.
I love it. Fantastic. Well, thank you for joining us on the show today. We really appreciate you sharing your knowledge.
Glad to be here.
Your blunders, as you put them, and your triumphs, which, I think you're living your freedom life every day. You're living the Freedom Day lifestyle, which is exactly what we try and espouse.
Fantastic. Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate you inviting me on the show.
You're welcome. Folks, as always, make sure that you reach out to him. Sounds like he's got some great stuff on his website. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And we will see you guys back here the very next time.